I'm Jeff Glor of CBS News, on assignment for 60 Minutes Sports. The opening of baseball's spring training camps is the annual excuse for waxing poetic about rebirth, renewal, and the reality that your team has at least a theoretical chance to win it all. Unless, of course, half your pitching staff gets carted off for Tommy John surgery, torn labrums, and other calamities that can end seasons and careers. This story is about two men from different backgrounds working independently who are part of a revolution taking place in the way pitchers are taught and trained. Until recently, that process has been based largely on folklore, hand-me-down hoodoo, and blissful ignorance. But faced with an epidemic of good arms going bad, baseball is finally listening to these men, and others like them, who say it's time for a change-up, a different, more analytical approach to keeping pitchers on the mound and out of the hospital.
It's a game of failure, coached by negative people in a misinformation environment.
It's pretty negative.
If your son plays baseball, he's going to feel bad more than he feels good, and he's going to be coached by people who are don't-do coaches with information that doesn't hold up with science. Cross it over. Go as high as you can go, get you up. Great job. One more.
Like TV's fictional Dr. Gregory House, MD,
Are we going to be able to get any more out of this body?
Dr. Tom House is an irascible, unconventional detective of defective pitching.
We have a catcher. He's not real smart. See the catcher?
With his PhD in sports psychology, his 19 books on the science of throwing a baseball,
Got to move 2 more inches.
and his 7 years as a big league pitcher himself,
Watch his drag line, coaches.
House attracts coaches and pitchers of all ages
He's 13.
to his clinics on the USC campus in Los Angeles.
We want to make sure that his butt stays in front of his head and spine. Preset your butt. Lift as high as you can. Go! He's added in perceived velocity 1.5 miles to his fastball. He just got 6 inches closer. 1 foot of distance, 3 miles an hour.
Above all, he's a teacher,
That's a great job.
and his pupils, past and present, include all-time strikeout king Nolan Ryan, who pitched for a record 27 seasons, and 3-time Super Bowl MVP Tom Brady, who made a house call to fine-tune his mechanics.
It's not.
Despite such a flashy clientele,
Okay, we had 1 brain fart for the day. Everything was really good.
House is still widely viewed as at best a maverick, and at worst a heretic, who likens baseball big shots to cave dwellers.
I think baseball overall is 10 years behind the other sports. The technology involved in other sports is out there. They're using it. Baseball is just now starting to realize that it could help. The information is out there, Jeff. It's out there. Someone has to embrace it, put the ego aside, and try to help the end user, the athlete. Everybody in this room could fix this guy right now.
House and some like-minded disciples have embraced technology like this. 3D motion analysis, as seen in this demo from Modus Global, partnered with the American Sports Medicine Institute. Sensors and multiple high-speed cameras reveal what the naked eye cannot, exposing flaws, weaknesses, and stress points that would otherwise go undetected.
Exactly.
He uses this data to retool the pitcher
Okay. Put your foot where you just started and move that way.
into a healthier, more efficient engine.
This guy's been told to shorten your stride, get on top, and yank the ball through. Where do you think his arm is always hurt?
To nearly everyone's surprise, the data shows that many of the time-worn do's and don'ts of pitching wisdom are flat out wrong.
Throwing across your body is not a bad thing. Opening up is not a bad thing. All right, landing on your heel is not a bad thing. Curveballs don't hurt the arm. Thrown properly, a curveball is the easiest pitch on the arm.
You're saying the vast majority of the stuff that I learned when I was in Little League and that everybody else learned when they were in Little League is wrong.
Yes, sir. And again, I'm going to take a step back. A lot of this came about because our eyes lie to us. And it amazed me when we started getting data at 1,000 frames a second on what the elite did. To myself, I went, okay, Tom, you weren't really good at what you were teaching.
Making matters worse is baseball's insatiable need for speed. Time was, a kid needed to throw strikes at 90 miles an hour to get a scout's attention. But that was yesterday.
96 more!
What's the new bar?
The new bar for Major League fastball is 100 miles an hour.
Come on.
There are more 100-mile-an-hour throwers right now in baseball than there has been in the history of the game.
Aroldis Chapman at 102 miles per hour.
But arm speed without arm strength and flexibility, arm speed without proper mechanics, arm speed without monitoring pitch totals is a death sentence.
There are some managers and owners who get very nervous when players call you. They think you might screw up those players.
I would get nervous if they were calling me also. Why? Because they're not getting from their organization what they think they should be getting. So I become the island of the unwanted toys. Anybody that comes to me, all right, is not satisfied with what they're getting from their various organizations.
C.J. Wilson of the Los Angeles Angels has had 3 surgeries, including Tommy John, in his 14-year professional career. Not satisfied with conventional therapies and techniques, he began exploring science-based pitching methods a few years ago in an effort to offset all the misinformation he's absorbed and all the lies he's told himself.
All pitchers lie. It's a competition. You know, you're out there trying to be, you know, we're raised that way. It's America. Rub some dirt on it. Don't be a puss. Keep going. You know, I made mistakes when I was younger. I threw too much. I waited too long to get Tommy John surgery. You know, I was pitched with a bad elbow for too long, and now I've got an elbow that, you know, I can't straighten my arm all the way. I have a deformed arm.
So Wilson decided to check in with this man, Ron Woolforth, a 55-year-old former collegiate pitcher and softball coach who never made it to the big leagues, but who, like Tom House, has made a career out of marrying science to the often painful business of throwing a baseball.
I don't believe there's an ideal way to throw. I believe that a pitcher will have his ideal way, but that will not be the same as the other guy because everybody has different mobilities, stabilities, arm lengths, lever lengths, you know, all these different things that make each of them unique.
Woolforth's laboratory is called the Texas Baseball Ranch, located in the flat nowhere land about a half an hour north of Houston. How hot is it here? Woolforth calls it Nicaragua hot, and that's in the springtime.
They don't have air conditioning. Everybody's walking around dripping in sweat.
In the summer, it's Death Valley hot.
Here we go. Next guy go. Next guy go.
This is not the baseball camp of your youth. The drills are pulled from advanced training techniques used by other sports and from clinical research. And if you build it, as Woolforth and his family did 15 years ago, they will come, indeed from all over the country. For $1,500 a weekend, pitchers as young as 12 come to learn what no one else would tell them.
I'm going to let you go there this time. Ready, go. Not bad at all. Next guy. We take a look at their recovery. We take a look at their pain. We take a look at their performance.
One more.
And then, after all that, and we take a look at a video analysis, and then we formulate a process going forward. Every one of you are unique. Absolutely unique. If you don't believe it, ask your mother.
The Sermon on the Mound is part Patton, part Dr. Phil, aimed as much at the parents as the young athletes.
I'm telling you, parents, here's the most common thing. Coach, my arm only hurts when I pitch. And I look at them and I go, how unfortunate. If you were a soccer player, we wouldn't have to worry about it. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Move your feet, move your feet, move your feet.
While Woolforth and Tom House share a science-based, individualist approach to teaching, the style at the baseball ranch is decidedly low-tech.
Take, 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 take.
No fancy high-speed 3D cameras. Not even an actual baseball diamond.
Very good. Great detail. Really good. There's nothing state-of-the-art about it. As a matter of fact, when some of the guys come out there, like, it's just all there is, and that's indeed all there is.
17-year-old Jermaine Mitchell from Orange, Texas,
80.5.
needed to pump up his velo, velocity.
All right, here we
He
go.
admits he's had pain he never told anyone about,
How's the pain been doing?
and that's why his father, Mark, brought him here.
What he was pitching on was what I knew. I wanted to bring him somewhere where the science made sense to me, what I read about. Now that we've been here and they start showing us, it adds up to me.
17-year-old Angus Brooks of Tomball, Texas, now throwing in the low 80s, didn't lie when he first felt something wrong.
Where's your pain at?
Well, just last year, I had pain in my UCL, and right off the bat, I knew when that happened because I started pitching and just hurt.
Angus, see the pronation happening here? Very good.
But after some time at the ranch,
Congratulations, dude.
his velocity was up and his pain was gone.
Very well done, Angus. That bodes well for throwing strikes at Concordia. I'm sure I'm going to get Valentine's Day cards from Coach Lynch.
I want to talk about a kid who came to your camp year after year with his dad. He's now with the Indians.
Yes, Trevor Bauer.
Trevor Bauer.
What we did with Trevor is we gave him a plan. We gave him a direction. We gave him a map to follow. And he did. He took it and he went with it.
Trevor Bauer went from the baseball ranch to the pitching staff at UCLA and is now a starter for the Cleveland Indians. And thanks to Ron Woolforth, he's also become a full-blown pitching geek, using whatever science and technology he believes can help him improve and remain pain-free.
I'm the kind of person that has to know why something is going to work and like have research behind it to do it. I don't just say, oh, that looks kind of cool, I'm going to do it, and it works. I like to test things and know why. So a lot of the stuff I do has research behind it.
The purpose of all that stuff, the strange workouts and the video analysis,
If you're doing a polka dance. Yeah.
is the framing of a tailor-made regimen based on measurable and provable results.
So this is mostly a lower body and core warm-up.
How do you do it? How do you do it?
With more and more pitchers seeking outside help and unconventional therapies,
What is that?
This is a shoulder tube. It has some fun nicknames, cattle prod, and someone wanted me to dress up as Gandalf and have this be my staff.
we wondered what Major League Baseball's doing to confront the bad arm epidemic. We put that to Chris Marinick, MLB Senior Vice President for League Strategy. How concerned is Major League Baseball right now?
Very concerned. I think the final straw was when our Rookie of the Year, Jose Fernandez, went down last year, and that was on top of Matt Harvey, Steven Strasburg, other pitchers who had gone down previously. And what we did was we brought together the foremost experts in the medical community, and we asked these guys, what is going on here? What are we missing? And the consensus that came out of that group was that we are missing kids at the amateur level.
To address that, MLB created a website called Pitch Smart, where young pitchers and their parents can obtain information on when to pitch, when to rest, and the many myths surrounding Tommy John surgery. All well and good for the wannabes, but when we asked what's being done to help current and soon-to-be major leaguers, Marinick made a surprising announcement.
We're actually about to begin a study this spring that looks at many different factors on pitchers. So we're going to gather MRIs, biomechanical information, medical histories. We're going to do a physical exam and range of motion studies on a group of pitchers. And then we're going to watch them for 5 years and see who got hurt, who didn't get hurt, what are some of the causes that maybe made them get hurt or maybe made them stay healthy. And that'll help give us a lot of information that we didn't have in the past on those injuries.
Do it again.
Tom House finds that encouraging,
He's consistent.
but history tells him change will not come easily.
All right. I think it's a great beginning. My biggest concern is they'll get all this data and they'll sit down as a group and nobody will understand how to interpret the data with their own vocabularies. I think eventually they're going to realize that if they don't start keeping the kids healthier at 9, 10, 11, 12 years old, it's going to ultimately affect the bottom line with major league players. That transition is taking place right now. Is it going to happen soon enough? I'm not sure, but it is taking place. It's pretty solid for a 12-year-old. Would you agree? Y'all proud of yourself? Give yourself a little pat in your ass right now. Now, for a 12-year-old, that's pretty friggin' good.